Welcome, dear friends, to Cardiac Radio at 11 p.m., nourishing our souls with the laws of love. This book that is a true blessing for all of us on earth. It's a book that tells us, as Emmanuel, the spirit author, through two mediums, Waldo, Vieira and Chico Xavier, in 1963, Emmanuel discloses to us that this is a booklet, educational booklet to teach you, to teach me, all of us, about the Spiritist understanding of suffering. But this is not cold knowledge. It's knowledge that educates us, consoles us, brings us hope. It's Spiritism. So let's see. In 8 chapters, Emmanuel is going to disclose it, and he very wisely brings to us in these 8 chapters everything that we need. So he begins by saying, Chapter 1, Spiritual Causes of Illnesses. Chapter 2 is about family ties. Chapter 3 is about social, professional choice. Chapter 5, Divorce, Suicide, Abortion. That's chapter 4. Chapter 5, Obsession. Chapter 6, Consequences of the Past. Chapter 7, Treatment of Illnesses and Spiritism. And chapter 8, Redemption. So that's it. You and I are getting to know the beauty of this book. The laws of love, as he says. God loves us. And when we talk about laws, justice, it's laws of God, laws of love. God doesn't punish us. He educates us. We feel it. Today, we're studying question 12 from chapter 1. Spiritual causes of illnesses. In this question, Emmanuel is asked, can the invigilant mind install diseases in the physical body? And what do we do in our daily lives that can trigger diseases of spiritual causes? The answer is fascinating. 2 parts. 1. The mind is more powerful to install diseases and disharmonies than all known bacteria and viruses. Yes, physical hygiene is of the essence, but mental hygiene. Do we do mental hygiene daily? Not eating properly creates illnesses, but not nourishing ourselves spiritually creates huge problems. Not exercising physically is a huge problem. But not exercising love, not being charitable, which is the love in action, atrophies the muscles of the soul. Emmanuel continues by saying, therefore, it is equally necessary to consider that imbalances and diseases come up with our imprudence, our carelessness, our rebelliousness, and our laziness as well. And now he gives examples. People who get drunk to the point of ruining their health, who forget their hygiene until they become prey of destructive parasites, people who get irritated out of nothing, unraveling the nerves themselves. And what about those who spend hours seated, laying down in hammocks, beds, armchairs, and by the windows, doing nothing, just watching the lives of others, without the courage to overcome idleness and discouragement by the movements of work? They impair the function of their organs of the physical body due to that immobility, creating illnesses, due to today's attitudes without any connection with previous lives' choices. So you and I are being invited by Emmanuel to make sure that we understand how daily we can avoid problems. Okay? So let us then go here, and I'm going to share the screen with you because we're going to do this together. All right? All right, I'm sharing the screen with you. If you're listening to us, visualize what we're going to say because we're sharing the screen and observing the following. Okay? So let's then pay attention now. Emmanuel says, first, the mind. Mind, moral discipline. So, he says, these are the attitudes in daily life that create illnesses of spiritual causes. And you ask, well, Vanessa, why do I need to write? Do you need to write it? Why? Because when we visualize it together, it's more powerful. So the first thing he says, imprudence, which means not being prudent, being careless. It's also about impulsiveness. We create illnesses. In the background picture, as you can see, it says symbolizing that we, with our will, as Kardec says, the hands, are, look at the person, co-creating as we think all these things in our mental body. So we need to think, am I prudent enough? When I say whatever I like, I'm not. When I drink alcohol knowing that this is going to be detrimental, when you go to the doctor, all the doctors know. They ask, do you drink? Do you smoke? Because that changes your health. And people keep, oh, it's summer, let's drink, let's get together. But it's your health. Eating more than we should. Each person has a different body. Eating things that we're not supposed to eat. It's going to create illnesses. There's no other way. What else? What else? What kinds of illnesses we create today that have nothing to do with previous life? Emmanuel's words. Because of our spiritual indiscipline, our moral indiscipline. So he says another thing. The next step for us is, the next thing he says, hold on. You're so patient, dear friends. I'm just going to double check here. He says to us that the next thing for us is rebelliousness. Rebelliousness. So I'm going to do this. Imprudence, carelessness, okay? Just to be faithful to him. And then he says rebelliousness. And are we rebellious? I think we are, because we still have problems. When things are not our way, we get irritated and angry. That's rebelliousness. Look at the book Paul and Stephen. Joshedeb, the father, was truly rebellious. He didn't want to accept the facts. Not saying that they were just, but at his time, it was crazy to be rebellious. He lost his life. Our rebelliousness when people say, I don't believe in God, rebelliousness. You're not self-made, my friend. When we commit suicide, rebelliousness. When we commit abortion, rebelliousness. You see how rebellious we are? There are different levels. We need deep meditation. Do you agree? If you don't agree, you can say it. If you agree, you can also express it. Think about it. Our imprudence, thinking, we need to think, our carelessness, impulsiveness, our rebelliousness. And the last thing he says to us that is very important, he says, that's a thing of summer, laziness. Because right now, summer here in the North America, North Europe, and people think, oh, I would love to do nothing this summer and enjoy laziness. Because one thing is to plan a week off. Another is to think I'm gonna retire and do just what I want. There are people who feel that way in winter, because it's so cold, because it's so invitational to hibernating. We agree, we need to slow down. Sure, there's a reason why God does this. We would exterminate ourselves if we were spending our lives in extremes. So we need the seasons to season ourselves, seasoning ourselves with the seasons of life as well. And we become much more flavorful in terms of God's abilities. Yes, more experienced, more loving, more caring, more compassionate, more charitable. So today, you and I are coming to know the 4 main attitudes that daily can create illnesses for us, and it has nothing to do with previous lives. Caring for the body, for our things. Being careful in what we say and speak and eat. Accepting life in its proposal to educate us. It's normal to go through lessons, learn the new every day. And we need to humble ourselves to new learning experiences. And not be rebellious. Because there are people who, they're so rebellious, they're too proud of themselves. They think, ooh, I'm the king of the hill. Ooh, I'm the queen of all times. We need to be meek, humble ourselves. And that doesn't mean we don't have power within. It means we're so one with God, we don't need to prove to anyone. We don't need to show it in ways that we are going to be fighting with the world. And I'm not going to accept this. I'm not going to accept that. That creates ill vibrations that will bring our blood pressure high, that will bring our heartbeat high, because then we're constantly in the alert. But the main thing here that is very critical is laziness. Observe it. How we're always looking for ways to shortcut, to do things that are of least effort. That's not smart. That's laziness. We need to optimize our lives, make it more efficient, but not with least effort. We only do it by being useful 24/7. You may be asked, what are we going to do? That's why we have a PowerPoint here, because we're going to bring another slide in which you and I are going to say the exercise in the next 24 hours. This is what we're going to do. We're going to think mostly of laziness. And we're going to tame it. How? We're not going to think of laziness per se, but we're going to erase it. In the next 24 hours, we're going to fight against laziness. By doing what? Okay, so this is the plan. To fill the scriptures, let us, this is what we actually are going to do. Let us be useful 24/7, meaning all the time. Being useful doesn't mean we're not going to rest, because rest is useful, but making rest useful as well for the spirit. And the moments we're going to relax, useful as well. As we read a book, as we have a good conversation, as we're doing our daily works, in all occasions, exercising, eating, doing hygiene, helping others, making ourselves consciously useful. And let us repeat to ourselves, in the next 24 hours, let us repeat to ourselves the following affirmation. I am a child of God. Okay, I'll write down. I am a child of God. I love to be useful in the universe. I love to be useful in this universe. I'm a child of God and I love to be useful. Let us then exercise this in the next 24 hours and feel the healing that comes from it. Because then, good connections in our mental body. And then the healing naturally comes through us. Let us rejoice and be grateful. After all, you and I are children of God, and the call is to be useful always. Thank you, friends, for being here with us at Cardiac Radio at 11 p.m., nourishing our souls 24 hours at Cardiac Radio. We wish you many blessings, and until tomorrow.